Are you wondering what's a good way to boost your personal growth? Well, today I'm going to share my top 3 tips with you from my personal growth journey. And if you stay until the end, I have an extra point for you then as well. Now, I've absolutely loved personal growth since I stepped into this world. It's just amazing for me. It's like this whole, wow, you can actually work on yourself and get better as a person. It was incredible. And I remember actually getting involved in it in the early stages in my public sector career, and I would be like picking out the little bits of personal growth and like these are the best way to organize yourself and manage your time, and sharing it in the team meeting, pushing myself out of the comfort zone to do that, of course. And I started to discover these little bits of personal growth and actually how culture works and all these kind of things, and I was just really interested in it. And then when I got myself a coach, when I wanted to write a book, I got exposed even more to this whole personal growth world, and I loved it. Like the fact you could be a coach, you could help other people, you could share stuff and what you were learning, and I loved it. And it's a huge industry now, definitely developed since I've got into it, and lots of people share their personal growth journey. And I've done things like Toastmasters, which is a public speaking forum to improve your public speaking. I've obviously created a personal growth related podcast that also helps people with their confidence and self-esteem. So I wanted to share my top 3 tips really and takeaways, and actually what I picked up from coaching people as well, and being coached, of course. Now, I want to start with a quote. And this is from Napoleon Hill in one of the greatest personal growth books out there, Think and Grow Rich. And the book is the quote is this: knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential power. It only becomes power when it's utilized in acts of action. I didn't say it word for the word there, but it's pretty accurate. And it's basically, you've got to make it into a definite plan of action, right? You've got to actually knowing something. And another quote from one of my great mentors, Peter Sage, is a great name in the personal growth world, who I've learned a lot from. When I say mentor, one of the guys I've learned from a lot and been on the podcast himself, is he said, knowing something and not doing anything with it is the same as not knowing, right? So we've actually got to do something with it. Now, how's it helping you by just knowing something and not acting on it? Well, I wanted to share 3 things that really helped me learn and grow and being able to implement. So the first one is, because I used to just hear inspiration in my 20s and just not do anything with it, and it didn't make a massive difference in my life. So the first thing that I've started to learn is learn on the go where possible, right? So maybe you have to drive somewhere every day, drive to work. What you can do is listen to podcasts. You can listen to audiobooks. It's great that books are audio these days. Or if you really want to read a book, or you're learning something a little bit more technical and it's not just going to be, you need to write some notes, minimize it. So learning, what a lot of people I see doing in this industry, and again, I'm just talking about what I've learned from when people have moved forward towards their goals than those who haven't. Those who don't move as further forward will just listen to things like a podcast and go, oh, I'm inspired for today, and then just don't do anything with it, right? You've actually got to take action, even if it's one tiny thing you can do straight after. So start listening to things when you're on the go and make sure you take some kind of action from what you learn, right? Or if you've got to learn, there's 2 types of times. There's NET, and this is a concept I learned from Tony Robbins, one of the greatest names in personal growth, and he learned from Jim Rohn, who was, they say, the grandfather of personal growth. He said, I've actually got, okay, no, I know where I was going with that. Lost my train of thought there. He divides it into NET, which is no extra time, so you can listen to something on the go, and PT, which is prime time. Prime time. So prime time is when you've actually got to do something in the moment. You can't be doing things like working out. You can't be driving. Yeah, try and pair up listening to things that make you feel good, that you can listen to and repeat when you're on the go. Yeah, if you've got something you've got to study, find a little bit of time, but don't overdo it. Make more time for the action. So that would be my first tip, right? Try and learn stuff on the go rather than just spending all your time learning, because if you don't implement, it's not going to make as big a difference in your life. Even though it's all good, the information is going to your subconscious and all that. But yeah, try and do your learning in like spare time as much as possible, when you're driving, when you're at the gym, when you're going for a walk. I love listening to a book and going for a walk. And then if you've got to study something, which sometimes we do, when I've learned things like the non-physical world, which we won't go into today, and concepts around that, and the spiritual side of things, sometimes it's quite complicated. So just listening to it on the go I need to take a few more notes, put it that way. So sometimes you need to sit down and study things, but try and minimize that time so you're not spending all your time learning, right? So that's the first tip. The second one is schedule time in for your actions. So schedule, and ideally for me, it would be as early as possible in the day. So schedule some time for your actions to actually take actions on things, and make it dead simple. Make it as simple as possible, because if it's overcomplicated, your brain just goes, oh, it's complicated, and you won't do it. Right. So that's the second tip. And then my third one is get a coach and accountability buddy. Ideally, you get both, and all, I should have said. So getting a coach is someone who can see your blind side and maybe the spots you're not working on, maybe you're hiding. And then an accountability buddy, I've got one of those, will help you really stay on track of things. Make sure you get a good one. A coach usually plays the role of two, right? So get a coach and accountability buddy, because what we're talking about here is taking some good growth tips on board, but ultimately implementing them. So those are my top 3 tips for really accelerating your growth. I wanted to keep it nice and simple today and not overcomplicate it, because that's another key as well. Now, just before I get on to the final point, I want to appreciate you for being here. If you want to hang out with me for more inspiration, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is @johnny.pardo, and that's linked below as well. My final bonus point is find some time every week, and this is going to be prime time when you've got to sit down and make time for this, but it can be even just an hour a week, half an hour, 30 minutes if you really need it, but an hour's better. And then what you want to do is just ask yourself these questions. Again, keep it simple. What is it that you want? What do you want in life? Why do you want it? Because then if you're like, I want a load of money, and it's like, great, just that alone is not necessarily going to drive you. Why do you want a lot of money? Or, you want to go to a destination. Why do you want to go there? What is it that's special about it? Why do you want to go to a certain growth event? Is it just being hyped up, or do you genuinely want to go to it? Right. So ask yourself what and why you want something. And then think of one action you can do in the next week towards it. So you can set yourself a target. So just finding that time every single day, every single week, to actually schedule that in and start asking yourself those simple questions really has allowed me to move forward on my goals as well. So that's what I've got for you today. If you want to hang out with me, once again, my Instagram is @johnny.pardo. We'd love to interact with you on there. I appreciate you for being here. You're improving other people's lives by being the best you. And remember, you are in control of your own self-esteem and confidence.